dollar number of debt and obligations that Glenn frequently talks about come from? What's the breakdown?
Well, as you looked at the 50+ trillion, the 57 trillion I talked about, that's where we are today. If you start looking at obligations and commitments and you put any association with population increase, you start to make projections, which is why I took the numbers that I took, which are fairly conservative numbers. And by the way, the numbers that I shared with you didn't include healthcare. They didn't even include the recent legislation. So when we look at the trajectory, the numbers become astronomical out there.
It was $109 trillion the projected by 2030 or 20, I don't remember what it was, but it was $109 trillion. After healthcare, it became $139 or $134 trillion. There's absolutely no way to pay for it. None. Okay, that was happy. Dr. Doom!
Rubini, watch out!
I love, did you see what Rubini said? Rubini is this, he's known as Dr. Doom. He's the only guy I remember like 3 years ago, he said something, and it was like Christmas Eve. And he said something overseas that, you know, the economy is coming apart at the seams and we're headed for a giant crash. And it was the first guy that I saw that actually was saying what I believed that had any credibility. And it was so funny because it was Christmas Eve. And I wrote to one of my guys who's actually runs my book publishing division now. He's a big kind of economic mind guy, and he was in the boat with me. And I wrote him and I said, "Oh my gosh, great news! There's somebody else that believes we're completely falling apart." And I said to that Doom. I sent him another one. And he said, "Oh, by the way, Merry Christmas." But he said just this last week, in one of the most amazing headlines I've ever seen, he said, right above Barack Obama saying, "I have fixed the economy," Rubini said, "The global economy is about to collapse in on itself." I'm like, oh, thank you, Mr. Sunshine and Lollipops, for stopping by.
Yeah, but seriously, what's 139 trillion among friends? I mean, it's not a quadrillion yet.
Wait, is that a real word? Because I always thought a trillion was a made-up word. Is quadrillion? What is the next number?
Oh, dude, we keep making them up as we go.
I'm wondering when we get to a zillion. Won't that be cool? Zillion.
This next question is Beck University related, and keep in mind David Buckner has a class on Beck U. Beck U has a crest, but I am unaware of what imagery or colors, what they signify. Can someone please explain how that's been selected?
What? I read something today. The Politico did a 4-page expose on what the political ties are to 828. And I'm like, good heavens, man. We've got the crime of the century happening in Washington, and they're worried about 828. All right, let me figure this out.
Give us all the conspiracy.
Here's the crest. The crest for Beck University. Does anybody know what the Latin says? It's Jefferson. What?
Harvard.
Oh, you can't see it? It says, rebellion against tyrants is obedience to God. I love the way MSNBC talked about this crest. The only thing they had was the tyrants, because it made it seem like a military installation, I guess, to them. Then they said it was a buffalo, a dead guy, and a feather. Technically, they're correct. Feather, obviously, is related to the founding documents. The dead guy is little-known figure in history, George Washington. And the buffalo is my favorite animal because it makes me think of America. It is a quintessential American animal. But I don't know if you know this. A buffalo can jump 6 to 8 feet. Did you know that? 6 to 8 feet. I know this because I was around a friend who has buffalo. And the fences are this tall. And I'm like, are you afraid the buffalo are going to fly out or what? And he's like, don't screw with the buffalo. Don't let them hear you say that. They are an extraordinarily deceptive animal. that they're totally cool. You screw with them, look out. And the colors, I just thought they were nice colors. I didn't ask a color expert. I don't know, what does that color mean?
Our last question comes in from someone who's left themselves unnamed, and I think I know why. Can we see a reenactment?
Go ahead.
Can we see a reenactment of David Buckner fainting and Glenn watching?
You ready? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. And you were standing over here. Yeah. So anyway, David, we have the
I'm gonna pass out. Pass out.
We have the
I'm passing out.
thing over. Nice to see you.
I'm gone.
We have. Yes. Okay. We're gonna break for lunch. But after the break, we have a surprise for you, and Judge Napolitano is going to be here. He's in the house. And a lot more. And these guys,
But first, there is a little contest you should know about. Comes to us from LDStravel.com. So before you go to lunch, it's a good thing to enter because we're giving it away today, and someone here is going to win it. So it is a trip to Israel for 8 days. You must be 21 or older to enter, and this is what you need to do. Text the word Beck to 801-411.
Wait a minute, we're still talking. Where are you guys going? Excuse us.
Hey, in your seats!
Hey! We're talking down here! Hey! Get your butts back in your seats!
How are they not turning around? We're screaming at them on microphone.
Hey!
Thank you.
Man must be. They're hungry.
Well, the only one who listened to us just turned around and waved. That's not what we were asking. All right, so here's the contest again. Text the word Beck to 801-411. 801-411. Text the word Beck to that, and you'll be entered into trip to Israel from LDStravel.com.
Now you may eat.
Now get out of here!